The median sales price in Richmond, Virginia is right at $400,000. So you look at that figure and you say, I think I can make that work. Well, before you jump in, you really need to consider what that will look like in terms of your budget. Could you be overlooking hidden costs that can turn your dream home into a financial nightmare? In this video, we're going to take a very deep dive and figure out how much home you can really afford in Richmond, Virginia. And we're getting after it right now. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is about living in Richmond, Virginia and the surrounding counties of Hanover, Henrico, Chesterfield, New Kent, Goochland, and Powhatan, then subscribe below and tap the notifications bell so you can be the first to know about the current market in Richmond, Virginia. My name is Scott.Dearnley with Joyner Properties. My team and I get calls from folks like you every single day looking to move to Richmond, Virginia, and we absolutely love it. So whether you're moving in 9 days, 90 days, heck, even 9 months, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. All that information is in the link below, and we can help you make a smooth move to Richmond, Virginia. Now, if you stick around to the end of this video, I'll share with you a great resource that you definitely don't want to miss that will save you a ton of time and effort if you're thinking about purchasing in Richmond, Virginia. So today we're going to take a look at that burning question. Can you actually afford a home in the greater Richmond area? Or better yet, can you afford a home that's the median sales price in Richmond, Virginia? According to sales data from November of 2023, the median sales price is right at $400,000. This means half of the houses sold in Richmond are more, half of the houses are less. This is the true middle ground right here at $400,000. You have your heart set on that median sales price home at $400,000. Well, let's pump the brakes a little bit and talk about the numbers. Specifically, what would your monthly payment look like? Many people think that the monthly payment is just the mortgage, meaning the principal and the interest. But that's not true. Sometimes this could be this is kind of just the tip of the iceberg. There are several other monthly costs that you have to consider that roll into your mortgage payment, and they can add up fast. So let's look at an example home here. We found a wonderful home. It's at 4800 Croft Court in Glen Allen. It's listed right at our median home sales price. So what would your monthly payment look like? Obviously, the most significant portion of your monthly payment is your principal and interest. So let's assume a down payment of 10%. So you're actually borrowing $360,000 on this home. So current mortgage rates are right at 7%, and let's assume a 30-year mortgage. This puts your principal and interest portion of your monthly payments right at $2,395. All right, so that's number one. Your second is your home insurance, your hazard insurance. Your lender is going to make you carry insurance on your home. This can run anywhere between $100 and $200 a month, but for the sake of this example, let's use $150. So the next thing to consider are your property taxes. One thing that's sure about life is death and taxes, so you're not getting away from property taxes. This will vary a little bit depending on whether you're in Richmond where they're higher or the surrounding counties where they're a little bit lower. Our example house is in Henrico County, and it's sort of right in the middle. But looking at the taxes on our beautiful home on Croft Court, they are right at $2,951 a year, which equates to $245 per month. So right now, when you add up your principal and interest, your homeowner's insurance, and your property taxes, we are now sitting at $2,790. But as the infomercial says, wait, there's more. We also have other things to consider. Since you only put down 10% in this example, you also have to factor in mortgage insurance. For this example, mortgage insurance should run somewhere right about $185 a month. So then the last thing we need to consider is, did you buy a home in a neighborhood that has a homeowners association? In this case, Croft Court does have a homeowners association. Now it is very inexpensive. It's only $125 a year. So we only really have to factor about $10 a month in for the homeowners association. But know this, depending on the neighborhood, you may be buying in a neighborhood with a HOA that is way, way more than this. I can tell you, my homeowner in the neighborhood I live in, we're right at about $136 a month for our HOA, not $10. So in this example, it's actually pretty reasonable, but it can get higher. Okay, so now let's look at that total cost. Before, when you add in the numbers to the numbers that we previously calculated, we add in our mortgage insurance of $185 and we add in our $10 a month for your homeowners association, we are now at a total monthly payment of $2,985. That's the full boat number. All right, so now let's see if you can actually afford the median home price in Richmond, Virginia. According to the website Data USA, the median household income in the greater Richmond area is right around $85,000. This translates to $7,083 per month. So we start by paying taxes. Again, we know we always have to pay the tax man, and your health insurance. And let's say that of that $7,083 after taxes and healthcare, we're left with $5,500 per month. Now remember, when we added up the total cost of owning that beautiful home on Croft Court, that total was $2,985, which is 54% of your take-home pay, and would leave you with $2,515 for all of your other expenses. Now remember, these other expenses include literally everything. This is for your utilities, your gas for your car, your food, your clothing, entertainment, your car payment, savings if there's anything left over to save. So that's not, a ton of money, to be honest with you. And we're not even talking about things that creep up with you, like car repairs, uncovered healthcare costs, things like that. So what does this tell us? Basically, it tells us there is an affordability problem in the Richmond area, and really throughout the country for that matter. If you refer back to the graphic that shows you the median home prices in Richmond, Virginia, if you look 3 years ago, at January of 2020, the median home sales price was $263,000. Fast forward that up to the other side of the graphic to November of 23. We are now at $400,000. That represents a 52% increase in the median home sales price in 3 short years. That is incredible. I'm not even going to try to look at median household income over that 3-year period and give you that increase, because we know, everybody knows, I know my my income hasn't increased by 52%. So I'm not even going to try to find any data out there, but most likely that number is no more than 10 to 15%. So there is a huge gap between how much the houses have risen and between how much your income has risen. Big gap there. And that has created just an affordability gap. There's no way around it. So guess who is affected most by this affordability gap? That's actually first-time home buyers. So the golden rule when it comes to home ownership is not to have your mortgage be any more than 30% of your gross pay, your gross income. So that's before taxes. So why is that? Otherwise, it eliminates your ability to save. It eliminates your ability to do leisure activities. It really, if you're a whole lot more than that 30%, you can kind of get into the category of house poor. And, I don't think anybody out there really wants to be quote unquote house poor. All right, so I know what you're thinking. With house prices on the rise, sticking to this golden rule of 30% may seem next to impossible. But trust me, there are ways to navigate this. To avoid overspending, here are a few things to keep in mind. First, number 1, financial preparedness. Have a clear picture of your income. Have a clear picture of your debts. And really understand what your mortgage being 30% of your gross income would look like for you. So number 2 is diversify your home search. Don't be fixated on a single area or a single home type. Broadening your search criteria can make a big difference. For example, I recently had a client, she loved this 4-story townhome. There's that product all over the place now in the Richmond area. She was looking at a unit in Short Pump, $500,000, gorgeous 4-story townhome with a rooftop deck. We went over to Midlothian, same builder, exact same floor plan, and it was almost $100,000 less. It was literally just a location difference between Short Pump, which is premium property, and the exact same floor plan, base price from the same builder, was almost $100,000 less in Midlothian. So again, if you're not stuck to one area, you might find the perfect property and it could be a lot less in another area. So another thing is to consider your timing. If you can buy in non-peak season, which typically is winter, there's no doubt about that. The holiday season is very slow in real estate. But if you can buy in that, what we're going to say the off-season, winter, you have your very best chance of getting a great deal on your home. There's no 100%, every seller is going to be a little bit different, but typically there's a little bit more negotiating power for a buyer in the slower season. Now, number 4 is going to be government programs. And this is something really to hone in on with your lender. There's so many government programs out there for lenders, whether it be for first-time home buyers, for first responders, for teachers, for military, for even doctors. There's what's called the doctor loan. There are many of these out there that you can take advantage of, and I highly recommend talking to your lender about those. And I know some great lenders that know all there is to know about every hidden program that's out there, and they can help you with that. So all right, now let's dive into some possible unexpected expenses that you may never see coming when you own a home. First is home repairs. If you've been renting for a while, you've never really had to worry about a leaking roof or a AC system that goes down in the summer. Things like this can pop up out of nowhere and really put a bite out of your wallet. So that is definitely something to consider, because you've never had to pay any of these items if you've been renting for a while. Second, utility bills. If you were going from, let's say, 1,000 square foot apartment and you've just bought a beautiful 2,000 square foot home, there's no way around it. Your utility bills are going to be higher and you're going to need to budget for that. And another thing to consider, number 3, is your commuting costs. Where you purchased, is it farther away from work than you were before? Because more miles is more gas, and that's dollars. And then maybe now you live in somewhere where you're going to have to pay a toll to get to work where you didn't before. So look at how commuting costs may be affected by where you're potentially going to move to. All right, so far throughout this video, it might sound like there hasn't been a ton of good news that I'm spreading here. Well, it's not my intent to be a Debbie Downer. So just remember this, keep this in mind. When buying your first home, it does not have to be your dream home. It just really needs to fit within your financial reality. Now, buying your home is probably the first huge step you're going to have toward creating personal wealth in your lifetime. Never lose sight of the fact that your home, especially your first home, is really an investment. You want it to go up in value over time. With that in mind, here are a few shopping tips to keep in mind when you're looking for your first home. First, look for a universally appealing floor plan. Most people know what this means. It should have the right number of bedrooms and baths, a nice sized living room, a decent kitchen. Just don't really concentrate on, there's some weird plans out there that just have this mystery space, and trust me, if you can't really identify what that room is, nobody else is. So you might kind of think, oh, this is quirky and eclectic, but just look for a universally appealing floor plan, not sort of the stranger ones that you may run into out there. Now, also, my second tip is try to buy in a low crime area. That is always, very important for resale over time. And then number 3, and this is fairly universal in the real estate world, try to buy in a good school district. Now, you might not have kids now or may never be considering having kids, but your potential buyer down the road could have kids. So always try to buy in a good school district. And trust me, like in the city of Richmond, we've got multi-million-dollar houses in, not very good school districts. So just, a house being nice doesn't necessarily mean it's in a great school district. All right, so thanks for watching today's video on how much home you can actually afford in the Richmond, Virginia area. I hope you found it informative. Again, my name is Scott.Dearnley with Joyner Fine Properties, and I've helped countless folks move to the Richmond area in my 20+ years in real estate, and I would love to work with you. I've created a very helpful relocation guide that will save you hours of time and effort and research if you're thinking about buying in the Richmond, Virginia area. It's a must download, and you can get to it, link to it right below. So let's connect so you can understand exactly how much home you can afford. Just shoot me a text, send me an email, give me a ring. All of that information is in the description below. And until next time, I hope to show you around town. Take care.